Let's begin with some news update.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar.
Muslim faithful the world over are celebrating the feast of sacrifice, Eid-el-Adha, popularly known as Eld-el-Kabir. It is a festival in Islam which holds a special significance of absolute faith and submission to Almighty Allah, showing love to others and peaceful coexistence. It is also the fifth pillar of Islam, and it marks the climax of the annual pilgrimage to Mecca. This year's celebration comes amidst the pandemic and soaring food prices.
Allah.
And as Muslim faithful celebrate Eid-el-Kabir, ram sellers in Lagos have decried low patronage owing to economic hardship and insecurity. Ola Awakon visited one of the ram markets in Lagos where he came across a ram with 5 horns.
Every Muslim faithful is to be able to slaughter at least a ram for the celebration of Eid-el-Kabir. Yes, there are rams everywhere, but how many will be able to afford one for the celebration this year? This is one of the many ram markets in Lagos. Before now, the influx of buyers at this time of the year was always on the high side, but this year it's a different story. Most Muslim faithful who come with the intention of buying eventually leave without any ram. I tried to engage them, but they would prefer not to say a word. This ram seller explains why it is a bit difficult to afford one at this time.
If I was going to Yobe to buy all this thing, like this one now, last year, I said this ram 60,000 naira, but this year now, it's 150,000 naira. From Yobe, I brought this ram from Yobe. I brought it 80,000 naira because of all these kidnappers and Boko Harams. So to go to travel now is very difficult.
This man brought some of the rams from the north. He laments the insecurity issues on the road.
Abinda da yake muna da matsala a sashen Zamfara da Kebbi da Niger ta yan bindiga daɗi suna tare mu ga hanya suna amshi dukiya suna shiga daji da ita suna wucewa kawai.
After buying the ram, the next port of call here is to get the food. But the sellers are not any better with the lack of buying power.
I go to Kara, go buy kowa. The kowa where they buy 5,000 last year, I buy 8,000 this year. The dusa where they buy 3,500, I buy 10,000 this year. Okababa where they buy that gero where they buy 3,000 before, I buy 5,000 this year. So some way they buy this arawa for here now, that the price am 200. The thing no easy.
Just by the entrance of this ram market is something that has become a center of attraction. It is a ram with 5 horns. Many passers-by have been stopping by to take photographs with this ram. But can this be used to celebrate the Eid-el-Kabir festivity?
I can't use it because other people it has a layer ram supposed to have 2 horns. This one having 5 and so it's a special ram.
No, I'm not feature. No, I'm not feature. How many did you get? Nobody say like the same thing.
In the heat of the complaints by a few Muslim faithful that the price of rams have doubled, some could still stop by to buy more than one to celebrate the Eid-el-Kabir festivity. This is also responsible for the gridlock. Ola Awakon, TVC News, Lagos.
The ram with the 5 horns. We'll certainly talk about this. Is it acceptable at times like this, or it doesn't matter? Ram is a ram. We'll certainly talk about this and other issues. I have with me in the studio an Islamic cleric, Abdul Fattah Abdul Majid. It's nice to have you join me today, and happy Eid-el-Kabir.
Thank you very much. And to our viewers at home, I say happy Eid-el-Kabir.
Great.
Kullu am wa antum bi khairi. Thank you.
Amazing.
And may Allah accept it as ibadah on the part of all of us.
Ameen. Great. Now, first of all, there is something that non-Muslims don't understand sometimes. Eid-el-Kabir, Eid-el-Mubarak, Eid-el-Adha. What are their differences?
The actual name is Eid-el-Adha,
Okay.
the festivity of sacrifice.
Right.
Now, people coin Eid-el-Kabir, the greater Biram festival. That one is an innovation.
Okay.
If it is a name, it is for sacrifice. Then Eid Mubarak is a greeting that wishing you the blessings of the Eid. So therefore, the actual name is Eid-el-Adha, the festivity of sacrifice.
Amazing.
So all the people now tend to compare the Eid-el-Adha with the Eid-el-Fitr, which is for fasting.
Yeah, exactly.
So here and some other parts of the world, they consider this one bigger, but there is nothing like that. If you are talking of the strict tradition of the Prophet, what is known is this one is the festivity of sacrifice.
Amazing. And it's one of the pillars of Islam.
It is a fifth pillar of Islam.
Wonderful.
You know, so because it is part of ending the pilgrimage, which is the Hajj. You know, the Hajj finished, well, of course, the actual Hajj took place yesterday because the Prophet said, Al-Hajju Arafah. Whoever was not on Arafah yesterday has not been able to make the Hajj. So today now, we now continue with this celebration, thanking God for that success and other successes.
That's wonderful. All right. In the report we played there on the lighter note, we saw a ram with 5 horns.
Yes.
Well, we know that when it comes to Islam, and especially at the time of sacrifice like this, there are some prescriptions, or there are standards as to what should be used. And a ram is recommended.
Okay.
Of course, we hear that there are issues of a cow can be used, maybe a goat can be used, but the ram is number one. But we find one there that had 5 horns.
Okay.
And you heard someone who said, a regular ram is supposed to have 2 horns. The one with 5 horns, I don't understand.
Yes,
is it acceptable?
That will tell you God is God. He does whatever he wills, and nobody can query him. If we are not talking in terms of tradition, what the tradition says is that the animal to be used for the sacrifice must not be defective in any way.
Okay.
And this is not a defect. It's actually a manifestation of the power of God to do whatever he wills. So except if there is a defect, maybe one of the 5 is defective, then you can use it. But since that is the natural creation of Allah, you can use it for sacrifice.
Amazing.
So it is a question of, does it meet the standard? The standard is, it's not having a defect. It's only showing you that Allah may choose to give 2 horns, may choose to give no horn, may also choose to give more than 2, for you to appreciate that indeed he is the Almighty. And he does what he wills, and nobody can query him for what he has done.
Beautiful. That's really beautiful. All right, so what is the most significant or the biggest significance of this Eid-el-Mubarak that we're celebrating now?
Thank you very much. I think at a period like this, it even becomes very paramount. Let me put it like this, that keep hope alive. Remember Ibrahim, that we all are talking about today. He was thrown into fire. He will have paid the supreme price. And God saved him. Allah said, "O fire, be cool and be a source of safety for Ibrahim." And he was saved. But that did not stop God from trying him again. He waited until he became an aged at the age of 80, based on some report or more, before he was given the first child, Ismail. And after giving him that child, You now cause him through inspiration again to dream that he should slaughter, sacrifice that only child. That is another trial. It was after that when all of them, the child has submitted, the father has submitted, that God now said, God sadaqta ruya. Inna kadhalika najzil muhsinin. Oh, you have fulfilled your. We are now we are going to ransom it with a ram. Afadena bisibin hadim. So what does it tell us? Is that this is a festival saying, look, wherever you are today, it is not the end of life. If Ibrahim could migrate from 1, 2, 3, and finally he became the father of all. If you talk of Jesus, you trace him back to Abraham. If you talk of Moses, you trace him back to Abraham. If you talk of Muhammad, you trace him back. Oh, if he has lost hope, will he have reached that position? And that is to tell Nigerians today that, look, oh, it may be very tough. In the past it was. To those of us, I don't know how to call it in English, the Yorubas, we used to take Inye Ewu, that is a 3-day old pounded yam with mucus on it, and we packed the mucus away and we ate it. That is Inye Ewu.
Okay.
There is also the one they call... That's
some spoiled food,
in the 60s and early 70s. There is what they call Okadagbona. That is a 3-day-old food, which they put in the pot, in the pot, the clay pot, and you see it and we are alive today. Wow. Tells you that if it's difficult today, it was even more difficult then.
It was worse.
None of us. So, and that is why it is not just the slaughtering of the ram, which is total and unconditional submission that God, if this is your will, we have submitted. But more importantly, say, look, you are going to be tested, you are going to be tried. It's after your trial that you have passed through, then Allah said, tell them that those who say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun, to you will come and to you we shall return. That Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun, that then blessings, promotion, elevation, prosperity will then follow trial. So what we are going through now is the design of Allah. But we must be sincere, submit, and subject ourselves to the rules He has given us.
Yeah, but these teachings are very straightforward. Yeah. These teachings are known. These teachings are light in itself. But however, why is it challenging for even those who know these teachings to adhere to them the way they're supposed to be?
Thank you very much. Is it because we lay emphasis on theories? We are not talking of, okay, the Quran says, Atamuruna nasa bil birri. You ask people to do good. Watansawna anfusakum, you have forgotten yourself. Afala taqilun, are you reasonable by doing that? Is it because what you are saying, simply saying, is that what I'm saying, don't follow it? And that is because manifestation of those even talking about it today, doing otherwise. That is why we are where we are. It shows they lack the understanding. They merely went through the learnings. They got the message, and hey, it's not limited to religion. How do you expect somebody, a graduate, to now decide to steal the commonwealth of everybody beyond what his great-grandchildren will? I mean, is it people have stolen billions in dollars? So that what will happen? Do they spend it in heaven? So it shows that they do not know the essence. That look, money must be judiciously invested. You must impact positively on people's lives. That is when you will have fulfilled the goal. But if it is seen as a means of pride, boasting, you miss the point. So whether the alim, whether the other learned scholars who are not, is because they merely went through. They have not allowed the system to also pass through them. And that is why you don't copy them. You rather copy the correct thing. Follow what they say, but not what they do.
Right.
At the end of the day, you make it, inshallah.
Inshallah. I like that. Now, the point is, at times like this, our people are very carried away and they like to celebrate. You know, our people like to celebrate. We like to, you know, make merry. But there are also standards by how one should celebrate on a day like this. Can you make us understand?
The ram, first for your family, for those who you know around you doesn't have, not those who have. Those who do not have, give them. For those who come to beg, give them. For those of your friends who have come around, extend it to them. That is but do not, in Islam, alcohol must not, you know, accompany any of the festivals because it's clearly forbidden in Islam. So, and that is why you don't. If otherwise, if you are doing that, then you are not celebrating, you are actually disobeying. And this we should get clear, that this is a period, therefore, that in celebration there is even room for entertainment. I remember during the time of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Aisha, one of the wives of the Prophet, said children were singing around her. The Prophet was sleeping, and then the father of Aisha came in, said, "What? In the house of the Prophet? You are singing?" He was about sending them away. The Prophet said, "Leave them. Ya Abu Bakr, inna likulli ummatin Eid, hadha Eiduna." Every people have their festival. This is our own festival. At another point, the Ethiopians in the mosque of the Prophet were displaying on the 8th day, and Umar came and said, "Look, this is it." So, in fact, it is that aspect of entertainment, meeting with people, enjoying yourself, the charity, that's we should lay more emphasis on, because it really draws us together, and we feel that, look, we are one. The humanity is but one.
We're actually one. Now, the pressures of how people want to be seen can push a lot of people to go extra mile. There are instances we have heard where people don't have the wherewithal, but they can go borrowing, you know, to make merry. So they can just belong to a certain, you know, so they can be seen in a certain way. Talk to us. What does Islam say about that?
Then they miss the point. Whoever has not been able to sacrifice, each time the Prophet sacrificed, he sacrificed for himself, one, and sacrifice another for those who may not get money to sacrifice. So if you are not sacrificing, the Prophet has assisted you. Now to go a borrowing, even, it shows that it's not for the sake of Allah. Rather, it's not expected of the Muslims, of course, of anybody. Why? Because we want to dance to people's gallery. That, yes, those who said, "Oh, he has been able to sacrifice today," are also those that will come to say he's in debt. Why must I go to debt for things that Allah has not imposed on me? There are things which it says is only for those who have the means, for those who have the wherewithal. And therefore, if you don't have, you are not committing any sin. You should even feel free to go to others and say, "Look, I have not, give me from your own." That's your right. It is your right, from which the Prophet ﷺ has actually said you can't. So it is wrong, and we should tell ourselves that all this trying to belong and then wasteful spending, Allah has said wasteful. If you go wasteful, that you are among the fortress of the devil, Shaitan. And Allah said Shaitan is ungrateful. To go a borrowing because you want to sacrifice amounts to following Shaitan. It's not in line, and we should live according to our means, and we shouldn't allow all this what people will say. Yes, let them say whatever, but they will also come to appreciate that you're actually living based on the principle. You are not the one who has imposed the Eid on yourself. It's Allah that has said you should carry that. The Prophet ﷺ explained how you should. So if you don't have, you don't have. In fact, you may have 1 year and you don't have another year. The terrible statement around this area that if the knife is not going to cut this year, it will cut next year now. Why is it difficult? So we should make life easy
and simple
because
for everyone.
Allah has said religion itself is to make things easy. Why are we making it difficult? So if you don't have, and Allah knows that your intention is you want to sacrifice, the Prophet has said, innamal a'malu binniyat. Everything will be based on the intention. It doesn't look at how big the ram is. Rather, it's looking at the intention with which that thing was carried out in the first instance. So for those who do not have, there's no point going abhorrent. Then you raise issue about the cow and the camel. The cow and the camel are allowed. There is no clear distinction between one or the other is better.
Okay.
Whichever one. But in the case of cow and camel, 7 people will be co-sharer in a cow.
Oh, in a cow.
7 people in a camel. And then the camel should be the one that has completed the 4th year, going to his 5th year. Okay. The cow should be the one that has completed the 2nd year, going to the 3rd year. The goat and the ram should have completed the 1st year, going to the 2nd year. Except if there is scarcity of animals, that the sheep of 6 months and above can be used. But under normal circumstances, should have completed the year, and so there is no preference for one above the other. But in the case of slaughtering for a family, then a ram is enough. What do you see around us today? People slaughtering as many as 10. For God's sake, why, when there are people who are hungry around you, why don't you extend the largesse to them? Give them the money. You see, they will never forget that you indeed, one way or the other, you have positively impacted on their lives. But we prefer to lay emphasis on things that are foreign to the religion, and we want to therefore admit it as part of it. And I think we should start to tell ourselves that, look, slaughter a ram instead of wasting money on 10, 11, 12 rams. Put that money together. There's somebody in your environment whose child cannot go to school. Then say, look, I realize your children, they've not been going to school. How much is the money? And you pay that. Oh, you get better reward because it's going to be recorded for you as Sadaqatu Jariyah. That is revolving charity. But here, I don't know why we want to take things that are outside religion, impose it on ourselves, and then leave what the principle says. Slaughter one. Not only for yourself, you and your entire family.
And the family. Okay. Now, if you listen to people, for instance, in that report we played earlier on, people complained of how security, economic issues have impacted, the celebration this year. Can you talk to us from that window? How are all of these socio-economic activities, especially when it comes to security, how is it impacting on the celebration?
It's affecting the whole nation. Of course, insecurity is even across the globe. But the one affecting us here is for us to be ready to talk to ourselves. That there are layers in rulership in Nigeria. I remember in those days when we were younger, you have the head of the family. You also have the head of that compound. You also have the head of the district. You also have the head, the king or whoever. In those days, maybe only one, they call it in Yoruba land, they call it Olode. But that is the hunter, but it's not hunter. It's only one Olode will be in charge of a whole village.
Okay. Is that like a policeman?
It's that only one. Okay. And the guy is sleeping under the tree at night. And nothing is happening. Why? Because each and every home has taken it upon himself that, look, if they see you working with a thief, is your father that, or no, not even father, is your mother that say, you don't know that is the child of a thief? The father is a thief. If I see you, and don't send me out of your father's house. Your father is not a thief, and I'm not a thief. But that's missing today.
Those values are,
we needed, there is a need for that value to be brought back. If you mistakenly take a pencil home, that doesn't belong to you. It's your mother while checking through, say, where do you get this? And before you realize it, they've given you one, they've given you two, and they send you back to school to say, look. So, but what do we see today?
Well, these days...
What you see today is that even the parent will say, oh, that pencil is fine. You are not the one who purchased the pencil for... Oh, we started from there. And therefore, everybody celebrate thieves today that we know are stealing our money. We use such terrible languages to describe them as the best Nigeria never had, and we know they are thieves. So that the security is a problem. And really, may Allah save us. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate that pilot who Allah saved. Oh, we are proud of what
it's been celebration across the country.
Alhamdulillah, may Allah save him, may Allah cure, let him come back. So security is our business, not only that of the government. And it's starting from those who are in the areas where kidnapping is taking place cannot claim they don't know the kidnappers. Those who are in the Boko Haram area cannot claim they don't know those who are Boko Haram. So the government, how many people would the governor know? How many people will even the local government chap? But we needed to revive this system, bottom up, from the father, who is the head of the family, and at the end of the day. So security is really affecting, and is going to impact, is impacting positively. It's going to be more if it is not addressed at this time.
All right.
From such.
Yeah. Now, let me come back to part of the values we were talking about earlier. Now, a lot of people feel that apart from culture, that is very close to the people, another issue is religion, which is very close to the people. If religion is not able to keep the standards of morals and values in people, because people submit 101% to whoever their religious leaders are. And if religion is not doing that job of ensuring that there are values, there are morals and all of that, can the government do that?
You see, when you are talking of culture, moral, values, it doesn't come from the government. They can only enforce. They can only assist. We must have a change of heart that, look, this, we've tried the other one before. Nobody cares whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew or a pagan. We live together. And I served in Calabar. And you see somebody who doesn't know me come to say, oh, you're a copper. But that is far gone. We try to suspect one another. It tells us that the value, the culture we are departing from is actually the one we should go back to. So the fact that, and then if all of us, if I resolve and you resolve that, well, I don't have control on others, but I have control on myself, my home. And that's why in the Quran Allah said, in Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. Allah will not change the people until they have resolved in their mind to change that is bad in them. It is that is bad in us. All this band, the bandit, the Boko Haram, they are not about their number, but rather because we connive, we assist them. There is a need for a kind of moral rebirth, cultural, something like that, so that all of us will see that, look, the path we are going is part of perdition. We need to retrace our steps. We have not seen any religion that has allowed anybody to steal. I've not seen. I've not. In fact, you see Muslims entrusting their children to the Christian. The Christian entrusting their children to the pagans. And nobody, you don't take a cab and you say, are you a Muslim or a Christian?
Exactly.
So the problem is not religion. The problem is there is a need for us to go back to those values. Our leaders, then when it gets to leadership, our leaders should also manifest it. You don't ask us not to steal. And the next day, you are taken to court and it is proven that you have stolen. Even though the court may let you free, they say for the fact that a judge ought to have taken the decision is another judge that has taken it. They've not said you are not a thief. If my leader is a thief and is telling me not to steal, does it make sense?
Exactly. Something is missing somewhere.
And then there is a need to to ensure that the populace are well taken care of. The kind of terrible money people have stolen, billions that we cannot. Nigeria, like any other part of the world, people don't need much. If I can eat, we have to put to hide my head. My children can go to school. You can steal whatever you want to steal. But when you are stealing everything and nothing for us, so therefore
there'll be trouble.
The trouble. You know, Abiola won some in the 90s. He passed through. I attended the University of Lagos. He passed through the road at Macaulay. He said he saw people jumping on Molue. He said, if these people were to turn against the rich, all of us are in trouble. How many of those today are thinking of that? Rather, people will be thinking of how to fortify their security, and you are not looking at what are you supposed to do that you are not doing.
Exactly.
The stealing, you are not supposed to steal. And take care of the people around you.
All right. Cleric Abdul Fattah Abdul Majid, thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And happy celebration to you, the family, and even the whole of Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
Great.
I pray that Allah will use this period to help us solve all our problems, especially that of insecurity. May Allah, and the COVID-19, may Allah get us out of it, and may Allah prosper and bless all of us.
Ameen.
Eid Mubarak. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.